Hello everybody, it is I, Captain Oblivious Mist, and congratulations if you guessed the remake I was doing. Congratulations, your shout out will be in the outro. Now, first of all, if you couldn't tell by the title of this video, we're doing a remake of my Oceanic video, as that video has aged horribly. It's aged worse than my first video on this channel. Now, another reason why I'm doing a remake of the Oceanic video is because of the fact that I absolutely love this ship. In fact, proof of it is with this little thing right here. It is a Oceanic model. My girlfriend bought it to me. It's my precious. Now, you see, knowing that I absolutely love the Oceanic, I have a mug of her, I have that model that I just showed you, and hell, I have a bunch of books on her. Knowing my obsession with that ship, rewatching that video is painful. Really painful. In fact, it has aged so poorly, in fact, I cringe every time I watch it. So, I am remaking it. Maybe I'll do the Oceanic Pride, do it justice this time around, and not completely and utterly embarrass the entire maritime community. I mean, seriously, watching that video, it's just like, well, if you want to see a better version of that video, then you can just go and watch Nautical Studies of the Great Big Moves video. It is way better than mine, I can tell you that now. Those are the reasons why. Yeah, I will be remaking it. For those of you, if you do, for some odd reason, prefer my original Oceanic video, do not, fear not, as I will be keeping that up on my channel to watch publicly. Even though that is literally, every time I see that, I'm like, I didn't make that. But anyways, yeah, that is the super mysterious remake I've been doing. I think I actually announced it, but it's been on the back burner for quite some time now. But yes, we will be doing a remake of my Oceanic video. So anyways, enough blabbering on, let's actually get into the Oceanic video. The late 19th century was a time of fierce competition on the North Atlantic. The two main shipping lines at this time was the Cunard and the White Star, one of which had recently completed two new ships, the Teutonic and Majestic. At this time, rumours of a third ship to be called Gigantic was spreading. This ship would turn out just to be, well, a rumour, but would spark what would be the greatest ship in history of shipping. But this was not the only thing to spark this ship, as in 1897 most of the White Star's fleet was being shored up by other ships from the Cunard and the North German Lloyd lines, the latter of which had just completed the first ship of their brand new Kaiser class of ships, and to make matters even worse for the White Star Line, its latest ship was just a converted cargo carrier called the Cymric. The White Star Line knew they needed to hit back, and so they decided that they would hit back twice as hard and begun talks with Harland and Wolff over a brand new ship. The new ship was to be called Oceanic, a callback to the company's origins. She had a beautiful dining saloon which was capped off with an amazing glass dome that had 4 maidens painted underneath it. These were said to have represented Liverpool, Great Britain and New York in the US of A. She also had some of the most luxurious interiors of her time. Even the door frame of the first class smoking room was made with gold and set White Star Line back £500, which isn't a lot now, but back then it was millionaire money. Now, as for what I could see for her power, she was powered by 2 4-cylinder triple expansion engines, giving her a surface speed of 21 knots. And as far as her bridge is concerned, she had something called an island bridge, which I think doubled with her funnels makes her look absolutely adorable, but enough complimenting an inanimate object, as before construction could commence, a new 500-ton gantry crane was built to fit the Oceanic, and after this was completed, her keel was laid down on the Queen's Island Yard in Belfast, Northern Ireland. She was assigned the yard number 317, and she was planned to be completed for 1898, but as White Star doesn't rush their ships, she would not be completed until the year 1899. But before this could be done, she had to be launched, which was done on the 14th of January 1899, which begun the fitting out process. And by August of the same year, she was completed and ready to begin her life as an ocean liner. After her completion, she was sent off to Liverpool and opened up to the public with an admission fee. the profits of which was donated to local hospitals. The people who had viewed her mostly had positive things to say about her, and not too long after this she was sent on her maiden voyage. This went without event until it came to docking her in New York. As much to the humiliation of the crew of the Oceanic, when her pilot came to guide her in, they realised the ladder they were using was too short to reach the Oceanic, and so they had to board for a gangway door on the lower decks. She then proceeded to collide with a pier, causing a scratch in her paint. After this was done, a rather impressive yacht rolled up beside her. This was, and forgive my pronunciation of her name, the yacht of the influential J.P. Morgan, the Corsair. It doesn't matter. In just a few short years, he would come to own the White Star Line. But that is something I'll probably cover one day more in depth in a future video. For now though, I'm covering the second Oceanic again, so I should probably get back to doing that. Her career was really eventful. For starters, she wasn't even in service for 1 year when Thomas Ismay, the chairman of the White Star Line, died in 1900. Her mast got struck by lightning. At least lightning doesn't strike twice, am I right? But as if the year wasn't eventful enough for the Oceanic, she caught fire when a ship docked next to her. The ship was the SS Bovik and caught fire. Thankfully, the fire was contained. I guess you could say if you're on board the Bovik when she caught fire, you'd be pretty hot. Wait, no, don't click off! If you stayed after that pun, I ain't sorry. Anyways, back to the Oceanic, as one day while she was trying to dock in Liverpool, her anchor chain broke, taking 2 men for a swim. Unfortunately, one of them didn't survive, because they probably forgot their unicorn floaty. Anyways, then one time, on the 7th of August 1901, the Oceanic was sailing through fog, when she collided with the ship SS Kincora, I believe. The captain of the Oceanic kept her bow wedged into the side to keep the Kincora afloat for as long as possible, which saved some of the crew, but unfortunately 7 lives were lost, and as soon as the Oceanic pulled out of the Kincora, she dropped right to the bottom. As for the Oceanic, she was fine and continued to sail on. Then, in November of 1904, she sailed right through a storm, damaging some of the portholes and letting some water in. Then, in 1905, her firemen mutinied over a pay dispute. But hey, at least she's not on fire. Oh wait, never mind, as not long after this, a fire started in one of the third-class cabins. Thankfully, she survived, but it was extremely expensive to repair her. Hey, remember when I said lightning doesn't strike twice earlier? Well, apparently that's a lie, as Zeus decided to drop another lightning bolt on the Oceanic while she was sailing through a storm, on the 21st of March, 1911. But hey ho, this was the littlest of the Oceanic's problem, as we will soon come to find out. So for this section, to make sense, I should probably explain that in 1907, the Oceanic and many other White Star ships were moved to Southampton, which, for those of you who don't know, was where the Titanic departed for on her maiden voyage. Which is coincidental, as I'm currently writing this the day the Titanic struck the evil iceberg. Mwahaha! But we'll get to that in a minute, as while the Titanic was trying to depart, she nearly collided the SS New York. And guess what ship was docked right next to her? If you guessed the Oceanic, then congratulations, you get a gold star. As the Oceanic was docked in Southampton due to coal strikes, which means she had a front row view to the Titanic's departure. Then, as most of you probably know, the Titanic's maiden voyage did not particularly go to plan, as last time I checked, ships aren't supposed to go underwater, and during the aftermath of this, the Oceanic was sailing near where the Titanic had sunk, and discovered the infamous collapsible A with 3 bodies rotting away inside the boat. After burying the bodies at sea, the Oceanic continued on her journey. In 1914, an Austrian Archduke was shot, which launched a bunch of different events, causing Europe to be plunged into World War I. And almost immediately after this happened, the Oceanic was requisitioned by the British Admiralty, and was sent off to be turned into an armed merchant cruiser. And for this, she was given 2 4.7-inch guns. She began her new role on the 25th of August 1914, when she was sent off on patrol the waters of Faroes in Shetland. That's one word off a swear word. It's one letter actually, but anyways. As time would soon prove, though, she would not be doing this for very long, as we'll get to that later. But during this time as a patrol, Oceanic did well, as she even shot around a ship when they refused to stop. Though, as previously mentioned, the Oceanic would not be able to enjoy these times for much longer, as soon she'd be grounded in her tracks. Get what I did there? Hey, stop booing! You're only booing because you know it's a good pun. Wait, why is the title of the next section showing up? One fine day in 1914, the Oceanic was sailing around near Scapa Flow. This would end badly, as the Oceanic had two captains at this time, which often led to confusion, and this time was no different, as one of the captains retired to their cabin, but before he did that, he ordered the ship head towards what they thought was the island of Fowler. Stuff it. The other captain, Captain Smith, saw the rocks and how small the gap was for the Oceanic to pass through, and ordered the Oceanic to go west. The captain from earlier, Captain Slater, noticed the movement of the Oceanic and came up onto the bridge and tried to order the ship to return to her original course, dooming the Oceanic, as the course she was on would put the Oceanic directly in the path of a reef, which the Oceanic hit. Obviously, the people on board the wreck were able to leave the ship thanks to the effort of many smaller vessels. One of these smaller rescue vessels tried pulling the Oceanic off the reef, but at this point it was too late, as the Oceanic's hull was punctured. The very last person to leave the ship was Charles Lightoller, the most senior surviving officer on board the Titanic when she sunk. Before he left the Oceanic, he took a clock from the ship's navigation room. As for the Oceanic herself, they tried to cover up the wrecking of the Oceanic, as the fact that she was lost within friendly and calm waters would highlight the incompetence of the British Navy, and would lead in a drop of morale. But when I say tried, I mean they tried and failed, epically, as the Oceanic was a huge ship at the end of an island, which would be pretty difficult to miss. But enough about that, as, like many wreckings, there was an aftermath. The crew of the Oceanic was court-martialed after her grounding, and about 10 years after her grounding, a salvage team attempted to salvage what was left of the wreck of the Oceanic. However, this failed, and yet another World War later, in 1973, another salvage effort was attempted, which successfully resulted in the salvage of one of the Oceanic's propellers, which is now on display in Fife, Scotland, which wasn't the only part of the Oceanic on display, as in 2016 the Oceanic's Lifeboat 6 was found and restored. It was then put on display in the Shetland Museum as one of the two remaining White Star lifeboats still around today, the other one being the Nomadic's Lifeboat No. 2. And as for the wreck itself, parts of her still lies in the area where she grounded, but not much is left of her, and she's more of a collection of debris than a wreck, thanks to salvage operations. But despite this, she is still, in my opinion, the best ocean liner in maritime history. And there's one thing we can all learn from the Oceanic's grounding. Don't put two captains on a ship, folks. Hello everybody, it is I, Captain Oblivious Mist, and I am here with another epilogue. As I would like to say, this Oceanic remake, or my mysterious remake as you'd call it, took me a grand total of, you ready? 10 months! Well, 9-10 months, something along that time. We're going to work on it in December. I announced it in December, if you scroll back far enough, with a beta thumbnail. Scrap thumbnail? Anyways, so I announced it all the way back in December, and then my phone broke, so I had to restart production on it. And then, after restarting production on it once, I wasn't proud of the audio quality. Once I got my mic, and I was like, sweet, perfect opportunity to try out my new mic. And thus, I restarted production on it again. But then I realised, I haven't done the Atlantic in the Oceanic class, and the next thing you know, it's been like 9-10 months, and we're now here. So, hey, I'm happy to finally be done with this video. Second of all, hopefully my Franconia video should be coming out pretty shortly after this, if all goes to plan. Didn't mean to burp there, sorry. As well as that, my next video will be the Great Britain video no matter what. I may disappear for a few weeks, so depending on how long it takes me to do the video. But yeah, and then after Great Britain we'll probably get Republic, and then possibly either Teutonic or Homeric, or maybe neither of them. I want to do a video on the Bremen as well, so if that's something you're interested in, or something like the Ile-de-France or the Caronia, something like that. But anyways, enough of me blabbering on, as this video is long enough as it is. So yeah, with that, thank you all for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!